Hello, this is Derek Bertubin in term 1402 for my RFP Reflection. We wanted to create an engaging game for a demographic of 18 to 50, I believe that was, and I came up with a game that it was a very interesting way that I came about it, but it was through some 21 to 25 group of 21 to 25-year-olds, and they were playing this game called Carpet Ball, and I'd never seen it. And actually, when looking at the App Store, there's only one game that actually mimicked or ported this actual physical game into a mobile game. I also noticed that the multiple player type of experience that came along with it was a local network, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi networking solution that didn't really allow you to have, you'd have to have it on two different devices and be local. So I thought that was a big drawback. So my goal was to basically create this game in a very an online multiplayer format. And we see it's an asynchronous multiplayer game where players can play their turns at their leisure, which was something that we found was very important, and that encouraged people in their micro breaks to go ahead and play whenever it is that they wanted. Now we'll see here. Let me expand this just a little bit. The controls are very easy. It's very intuitive. The gameplay isn't too hard. Basically, at the start of each round, a player will arrange 5 balls within a defined area of their table. Placement of these balls will be within a certain area that's defined, and we see this by this white line. And use very intuitive gestures. Now, it's a simple flick. Very much like Angry Birds, or very simple user gestures to create this engaging gameplay experience with intuitive physics that you would see in a game like this, like pool or bocce ball or something to that, because those game mechanics exist within the game. There are also, this is covering the functionality aspect, which was one of the sections, and I put subsections within that section to cover player finding, which was one of the heuristics. Does it allow a player to find other players in multiplayer? And yes, it will, using Facebook. This is going to, when you authenticate through Facebook, it's going to grab your email. You're going to create a username in that workflow, and you can also sign in with the email and password as your account, and then choose your username. People can find directly through username or use your Facebook contacts in order to actually find users. The multiplayer aspect of the game. In this section, I covered how the network would handle multiplayer. Basically, at the end of each turn, data would be sent to the network. That's if a player is connected and online. And then once it hits a server, a push notification would be generated and sent to the opponent. When the opponent launches the app or refreshes a session, the device would then fetch the gameplay data from the other player's turn, and then the data would be used to reenact that player's roll, because you're actually flicking a ball to roll it, and then the player could see that the reverse action for the most part of the player, and detect whether what the strategy should be, the response strategy should be at that point. Now, also, I wanted to support non-connectivity, which I saw was a problem with some of the Words with Friends games, or with Friends games, and basically at this point, if there's a pending game and the data has been downloaded, the app has been launched, and the data has been downloaded, at that point, a player, even though he's offline, can still play the game. That's the intent, is that the data will be sent, it's cached locally in the app, and we want to store some information in that app. So we're going to go ahead and do that and allow the player to play their turn, and at that point, that play data will be queued up to be sent as soon as the device is online again. And there will be some there's in the document, there are some things that we talked about. If a push notification has been sent to the device, but the user hasn't answered the notification, launching the app, then an alert will come up with the appropriate messaging. There will be a point system. This gives this creates a reason for continuous play, and this is something where it gives some differentiation in the game. By nature, there's some orthogonal differentiation as the which causes the player to change the strategy so it doesn't become redundant or boring. And along with the point system, it just gives an extra incentive to allow the user to customize or make the game somewhat give them a sense that it's their own. There are some player challenges as well that players will see through using primarily Game Center and iOS. Now the business objectives pretty simple. Now, to achieve the featured market position within the game's genre within 3 months of online placement, we're going to go ahead and appeal to a lot of the media outlets, game review sites, and also send out some copy over to local areas that because a portion of this, it's a good idea to go ahead and donate some proceeds to like the Boys and Girls Club or something of that sort, because in the longer run, this will, of course, cause these groups, these charitable groups, to actually encourage the downloading of the game. We'll go ahead and monitor and review the ratings weekly to keep track of any feedback and make those quickly to keep that 4-month or those 4-star ratings 75% or higher, as well as encourage in-app purchases where there will be a storefront where users can customize the balls that are used, customize the carpet that they can see in their games, and also there will be ads in the very beginning of the game. A user can dismiss that by purchasing no ads in the store. As far as technology, we'll cover that. I'm running out of time, so Cocos 2D, native physics libraries, Google Ads will be both used for ads on both platforms. This will be dual platform as well for both Android and iOS, or Android and iOS, and then native in-app purchasing platforms will be implemented on both iOS and Android. The budget, very simple. Since no consideration will be awarded for the proposal, I didn't address that, but the initial 2D game prototype, $2,000, $50 an hour for 80 hours of dev time. That was good. 1 week less than the allotted 15 days. And then the final game, $10,000. We're estimating 200 hours total for development and testing time, approximately 5 weeks at that point in time. And that would be well under the allotted 8 weeks or 40 business days from the approval. Now, our provider qualifications, Pet Rocks Incorporated. Our team is comprised of a developer who's worked on both multiple iOS projects and Android projects, one graphic designer with a background in marketing and branding, and this will be our first endeavor in the game space. Yet together we have a combined experience, a lot of experience in usability, marketing, and design, as well as development. We hope to expand our offering to include games and other educational and utility type of applications in the future. So this is basically the response to the request for proposal. And the last thing we'll cover is just my experience in the MPX. Not a big gamer, so this was awesome. In some ways, I wish the go-to meetings were a little bit more interactive, more visual. This was my review, and hope to see you soon.